get a bunch of like really thin pounded lead, and everyone will get sick, and it'll be great.
Well, you're not going to eat the lead.
Well, that's fair. That's fair.
You could.
Yeah,
you could. And that is the voice of our guest, who's been waiting very patiently. Now, I think bursting to be on camera at this point. Please check. This is a gentleman that we met on Instagram, and that's rarely a good thing. But in this is one of the rare instances where actually it is awesome. And we're very excited to be talking to him. I'm going to show off some of his art and chat with him about what he makes. Please chat. Give a very warm Wizard World welcome to Skinner.
Hello. The human cursed tablet. Hey, you know what I was thinking?
Yes.
What?
Talking about that is like people in the village are like, I'm gonna dig through all the cursed tablets that you threw into the river so that we can cancel you in the village. Right?
You know what? I bet they probably did try to do that.
Yeah, they probably did.
I would say this to them. I'd be like, go ahead. Go ahead.
Bring it. I stand by all my curses.
Tiny skeleton.
There we go.
Hey, can you guys see me? Is everything coming in all right?
Yes.
Yeah, it looks great, man.
Amazing. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for
I love you guys. I saw your advertisement on Instagram, and then because I am kind of a connoisseur of weirdness and stuff and people, and like I'll spend a lot of time going through just random people's art, and then it leads me to another weird, and then you're just finding somebody doing their, earnest expression of their creativity and their heart somewhere, and then I just adore them from afar. And so like that's what happened with you guys, where I was like, oh, what's this? What is this devilry here? They have charmed me. They have taken my heart. But I saw it and I was like, whoa, this is cool. So we kind of DM'd a little back and forth, but I was like, in my heart, I was thinking, I hope they ask me to be on their wizard show. And you're like, would you like to be on the wizard show? And I was like, cast a spell.
No. So Austin says hello from Sacramento. Chat is welcome. We love you. Hunter Epic Twitch Gaming says, dude, holy shit, it's Skinner. I love this guy.
Oh, excellent.
People are popping off. So they
can
popping off about the cursed tablet of a man. That's me. No,
Goodbye, Rabbit Man.
I have few fans, but they're very powerful.
I don't think you have. No, I don't think you have few fans.
I don't guess at all.
No, but you know what? You know what you find when you express your sort of progressive love hippie kind of ideas about stuff. You find out that not all the fans are pure of heart.
No, they certainly are not.
No.
Sometimes when I post an image, and of course they are all real photographs of my actual life. Sometimes when they have Alex Jones in them, just because Alex Jones is in them, the absolute wrong people come into the comment section, and I got to start blocking.
Oh, so I'm not sure. My friend Matt Fury went to war legally.
You're friends with Matt Fury?
Yeah, you didn't see me in the documentary about Matt Fury's life?
I haven't actually watched the whole thing.
Okay, it's up. Well, you stopped right before the.
Well, you're not like a real super fan, then, are you, Amoenus? Huh?
No,
if you watched it, then you would have seen it.
I'm not a super fan of Matt Fury. Sorry.
You jumped out right before the awesome part where I like come and there's explosions and shit, and it's like Skinner's here now in the story.
He fucking skateboarded into that courtroom. It was sick.
No, but yeah. So, but Alex Jones is really fascinating because, and I hope this is okay if I'm just freestyling about this shit.
Please.
Okay.
Yeah, man.
So when I grew up, I was really fascinated by dark iconography and books and stuff. And I had friends that had older brothers that were these like weird dudes who were reading conspiracy books. They were reading To Behold a Pale Horse.
Oh man.
The book of Urantia, all this like occult shit, all this religious creepy bullshit. And so not like believing it, but more like they're just into it and they're like,
Sure.
oh, these people are weird. But also I watch the X-Files and smoke weed, so maybe. But so I remember like I wrote a report in the 3rd grade about how I was like sort of hoping that we were going to evolve into Bigfoots because
Okay.
like everybody says that Bigfoots evolved into people or something, but I was like, no, that's where we're going, dude. And
Yeah.
like getting into all this conspiracy shit and all this supernatural stuff and all this like kind of magical thinking and weird stuff, but I never got really paranoid about it. I never I don't know what happened, but like watching normies raw dog conspiracy theories and completely lose their mind because it's basically like when somebody smokes like really powerful weed and they've never smoked regular weed before and they're like, "Oh my god. Fucking dude, JFK's coming back."
Right, yeah. JFK Jr.
You know what I mean?
is
And,
using
like,
Eddie Murphy technology to hide his face. Like, okay.
yeah, and it's interesting because it's like watching fan fiction to people who are completely unhappy with their life at the dead end of Western civilization, but don't want to take responsibility for it,
Yeah.
and don't want to take responsibility for like what it all means, and that honestly, this really does feel like an excess. We're at the crux of information, understanding science, AI, anticipation for climate change, for disaster, all this shit. But then you also have this contingency of people who are connected to superstition so deeply that it's inhibiting us from actually adapting to what's coming and that we're a part of. So it's like, it's really weird because I grew up completely like my great aunt was one of those weird Sedona, Arizona hippies.
Oh,
that,
word.
yeah, and she would send me, dude, she sent me a map when I was about 12 years old of what America is going to look like once California falls into the ocean.
Fuck yeah.
I was like, oh shit, like so I'm going to be dead, and I was like, oh, I'm going to die, like, and but in my mind I was always like, yeah, I don't know, man, seems kind of fishy. Everything seems fishy to me, and so she'd be like, hey, there's reptilian hybrid aliens and shit and all this stuff. And I was like, oh, that's cool. Hell yeah. But I never in my life was like, oh, any of this is believable. Like none of this, like nothing. Like people go to church and they act like assholes. I'm like, oh, okay. So everything you believe in, nothing, like nothing. It all means nothing to me. Like all I know is that being a good person is the only thing that matters in the moment. And I feel like that's what people are forgetting about every single thing because their brains are overrun with information. And I'm just kind of ranting right now. Hope that's
no, it's
No,
great. No, it's compelling.
hey.
I was like,
Yeah,
I have to talk to this guy on camera. I knew it was going to be amazing.
By the way,
Chad is
I
bringing up
love your
Art Bell.
flowing locks and how you've kind of woven it into your.
You keep using them. I love it.
It's great.
Nakamas,
Hey,
thank you
check out this
for
cool
gifting
tweaker axe.
the sub. Dude, that's such a cool axe.
I know, dude. My wife bought it for me. She went to a weird like flea market, and some guy there just made this. And then and look, this is a saw bladey cut, and then he put this inside of a broom handle. And she's all, oh, I saw that, and I knew you had to have it. So this is a one of a kind. Anyways, sorry.
It is wild how there's some weapons that, because like, well, that's from the 14th century. We don't need laws about that. You can just make axes, bows. That's all you can just kind of. It's a real Wild West for certain weapons.
My friend told me he bought an insane heavy crossbow online, and he's all, "Oh, I don't use it. It's too scary for me." He's all, "You want it?"
Well, you can get full custom plate built for yourself.
Yes,
like you can just get full armor.
Summersbane is wearing armor. He has some on.
Yeah, this is
a bit of it on. It's real armor. It can take a hit. Now, I do want to, before we get back into expanding everyone's consciousnesses, I do want to actually show some of your art. Now, this first piece you sent me is a reaper riding a cat.
Yeah, and then there's also the bones of a dead cop, which is the fascist arm of the state.
Fuck yeah.
I love it.
If you don't believe it, fuck you, motherfucker.
Hell yeah. All right. Fuck yeah.
Hunter,
You know
Epic
what's
Twitch
so
Gaming
weird to
loves
me?
the
I know
art.
we got to move on, but you know what's so weird to me is people who are like pro Second Amendment and are like completely insane about guns and gun culture are like, we need them to fight the government. It's tyrannical. And you're like, all right, cool. What does that look like? The cops, motherfucker. And they're like, Blue Lives Matter. And it's like, oh, but do Blue Lives Matter because it's a totally
who do they work for?
overfunded socialist organization, you fucking nitwits. They're like, what? And you're like, yeah, dude, it's socialism, brother.
That's how they get you. You think that they're saving your life, but they're just socializing you.
Socializing.
Anyway.
Yeah, anyway, sorry, guys.
No. We don't look. This is our show. We can go. We could be here as long as we all want to. This next piece is it looks like it's on paper. It's physical. It's like a river of monstrous flesh.
Indeed, that was the story of my memoirs. A river of monsters flesh. Actually, it was called Scared, Stoned, All Alone. The Skinner story. Oh. I'm in Trader Joe's. Please come get me, dude.
Was there a time you got too high and went to Trader Joe's?
I'm so high right now. I don't know.
Yeah, that's great. It's funny because it's like that like river of flesh is basically like, it really reminds me a lot of some of the cosmic horrors you get to when you get into like the 5th and 4th levels. A lot of cosmic horror,
and you know, when I first saw your art, I was very reminded of like early EC comics. I felt like it had a very similar look to it, but with a way cooler like cosmic vibe to it. I love it.
Yeah. I'm in the weird cosmic horror part of the universe, but I'm also
which is great.
Deeply influenced by the artists who are connected to the EC comic stuff, or like horror illustration. It's part of the like lineage of great illustrators: Bernie Wrightson, Mike Kaluta, Barry Windsor Smith, Jeffrey Catherine Jones, stuff like that. Frank Frazetta, shit like that.
I was gonna say, is that a Frazetta on the wall behind you there?
It's a bootleg Frazetta from a thrift store.
Nice.
Yeah, you can see it.
Yeah, thrift store Axe, thrift store Frazetta.
No, but you know what? I was being interviewed by this this guy John B. Cook, who is an editor of comics. He's sort of a comics historian, and he goes, we were having a Zoom meeting with him, and I was with some other random people, but he goes, is that an original Frazetta behind you? And I'm like, you think I would have a $3 million painting like in my fucking studio? like what are you talking about, man? Like, you're talking, I'm a fucking garbage pail kid, dude. I don't know.
That's also kind of a knock on him. Like, shouldn't the comic historian be able to recognize an actual original Frazetta?
Yeah, I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? What is it? F for fake? I don't know if you guys are
Skinner rules.
With that Orson Welles film.
Of course, F is for fake, but everything is fake in Hollywood. It's all illusion and magic.
Everything is fake, except for the adrenaline deduction.
Adrenochrome. Adrenochrome is real.
It's adrenochrome. The river of adrenochrome, right down Lancashire fucking.
of all the streets, it's on Lancashire.
Of all the streets,
adrenochrome is on Lancashire.
That's good real estate up there.
Now, this is kind of an army of cosmic lords. Marching somewhere.
That painting is called Night Parade.
Night Parade. Ooh. That's very cool.
Yeah. I'm gonna maybe I'll release it as a print. I have it. I haven't. You know, I feel very self-conscious about trying to sell so much shit. It's like it just feels very counterintuitive to me, who's at 43 years old, just finally discovered my real calling, and my rhythm is just this like very deep like practice of illustration and trying to get better. And it's like, oh wait, now I have to go harass strangers for money or whatever, you know. And so, but
it's cool. So now, can you talk?
Try to make it worth their time.
a bit about your process? I know some artists don't like to dive into that, but I'm wondering if you could indulge me.
Yeah, and whatever you want to know.
I mean, so now, do you do any pieces that are all digital? Do you work in paper, like ink it first and then scan it in? Like, what's the actual process of you from a blank canvas to a finished piece?
Well, it kind of depends when I'm doing. Maybe if I'm doing a painting I just really want to do, or an illustration I really want to do, I will sometimes sketch out the concept in digitally.
Mhm.
And then sometimes what I'll do is I will work the composition so that I project the image from my computer iPad onto the canvas, and then I will, with a projector, and then I will
Oh,
outline with pencil the illustration I did, and then I will paint into it or airbrush into it or whatever. Sometimes I do only digital stuff. Like it kind of depends on the nature and like the breadth and depth of the like say the job that somebody has for me. Like I just did I don't know, some stuff like some like work for hire. Oh yeah, I did some stuff for this vape pen company. My friend did Timeless, that'll come out later. And I did all, and I was like, okay, what's the budget? And then in my mind, I could understand that like the amount of money would equal this amount of labor, this amount of time. So then I would do it digitally. But when I want to do something, say, I don't know if you saw that film Psycho Gorman.
yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I did the cover to the comic that's coming out, and I was like, okay, the amount of money I wasn't asking as much money as I really wanted, what I would ask for when I'm doing a commission job, but what I did was I made a physical piece. So I have this like beautiful, beautiful illustration that I could sell later for, or whenever for a
Right.
bunch of money. So
That makes
I
sense.
kind of try to find ways of justifying my work for projects that
Oh.
I really respect and love. And then anything else, if I'm like, I don't really like this, company, I give me $20,000 or what, like some
Yeah.
unreasonable
Sure.
shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you quote it out.
Yeah,
You
just be
quote them
like,
out
this
of the
is
thing. You
what
just
I
say, "Hey,
want.
fuck it."
And then if they go, oh, that's too much, then I go, all right, cool. Now I could just draw my Balrog or whatever. And then,
Yeah.
if they go, okay, we'll pay you that, and then I go, all right, cool. Now my wife will be like happy that I'm like not like just like in bed all day, which I love to do. But she doesn't, she doesn't really care. But it's like,
She worries about you. She just cares.
no, you want to show the people in your life that you're participating in stuff that like it's like we're all collectively engaged in this reality, and like we all know there's a material reality that we have to obey. But I just feel like, it's, I don't know, it's like at some point in your life you have to have boundaries about what it is that you actually feel like you're best at, and
Right.
what is it about your life as you get older. I mean, like when I was 25, I wasn't really tripping on like, any of this shit. You know what I mean? It's like when you get older, you're like, dude, I just want to do cool, amazing shit and try to build momentum in that way.
For sure.
I don't want to get mired in the bullshit of others. You know that have you ever heard that saying, follow your dreams or someone will pay you to follow theirs?
Whoa.
You ever heard that one?
I haven't
No.
heard it, but I have lived it all too often.
Yeah, I was gonna say, then you just basically summed up a huge portion of my life. So
I told it to my assistant and he quit immediately. And you know what I said? Go, little baby bird, fly free, fly, you motherfucker. But also help me later if I need help. I don't know what's going on. I think.
Could you at least do a 2 weeks notice, please?
Yeah,
Don't-
come on,
Okay,
yeah.
go. I mean, I'm still recommend you, but
Yeah. Hold off your dream for just 2 weeks while I find a new non-dreamer to come in.
Yeah. Let me find somebody whose dream is mine.
whoa.
This is a crawling, undead, decaying
Yeah.
serpent of your mind.
Pretty cool.
Fuck yeah.
Yep. Something cool like that, man. Yeah, I see what you're saying, where it's like oh, this guy is clearly influenced by the horror art from the
Yeah.
past, but there's like some kind of weird, dreadful expansion on that I guess kind of melds the. Yeah, it's like,
It's
oh, it's
like
sort of like
it's like EC Comics plus They Live plus D&D. I feel like is
yes.
the like trio, the like triumvirate that describes Skinner art. If I had to boil it down.
I had to Dungeons and Dragons Dungeons and Dragons said by no means am I talking shit right now. But they this my friends that run this company kind of like get these gigs from different, I did like this giant Mortal Kombat mural and it was totally hilarious. I was like, I wanted to meet the people who were at the Mortal Kombat event, I was like, I just want to see. I do anthropological studies, my friends. And but then they were like, hey, do you want to do a Dungeons and Dragons print, for this video game that's coming out? And I was like, oh God, dude, yes, I do. Fuck yes. And I can't wait. I'm like looking through my old monster manuals and I'm ready to embark upon this epic like illustration thing. And they're like,
That's
all right,
cool.
here's the monster. And it was some weird like elephant with a helmet or something. And I was like, what the fuck is this, man?
What?
I've never seen no elephant with a helmet like this. And they're like, oh, it's for the video game. Yeah, but I was like, what about the classic troll? What about
a troll is cool.
I did like a regenerating troll. Like I've always thought how fucking scary trolls are in an encounter. Yeah. Like you like chop them, burn them, and then they just like start to regenerate back in front of you as you're. That's fucking horrifying.
Well, yes, we fought them. It was terrifying.
I know. They're stinky. They're very stinky.
I did see that you have a beholder flag though.
Oh yeah, I sell my artwork on my website. By the way, this is me like shilling. And,
no, I've been dropping a link money in there quietly.
Oh, thank you, friends. Yeah, there's a beholder. I mean, the beholder is. I don't know if you guys are actually familiar with the really, really old Dungeons and Dragons like pamphlets that came out before everything. Okay, so you are. So the very first beholder illustration ever is the most hilarious thing.
It is so silly looking.
Yeah.
So funny.
Not scary
and like
at all.
No, but the illustrations in Monster Manual 1 are so funny because there's this guy, I think David C. Sutherland or Donald C. Sutherland III. Basically the illustrator that was not as good as the other guy.
Thank you for the raid, Legio Necrus. I hope you had a good stream. Sorry, Skinner, go ahead.
Oh, it's all good. Sorry, I'm just like rambling now.
No, that's fine.
Yeah.
Anyway, but it's funny because you have this like one illustrator who's doing these beautiful kind of epic narrative small illustrations, and then you have the other guy who's drawing the awkward thing that looks like a teenager drew it.
Okay, well, one of them was just a teenager that was like interested, and so she like sent in art. She didn't know anything, but they're like, yeah, we can buy your art. No one else is sending in pictures.
Wait, in the pamphlets?
Yeah. So that there's a fantastic book. It was put out a couple years ago, but it's like they're like 35 years of D&D, but it's an art book, including the like backstory of like who bought what, and like one of the artists was just a like untrained lady who was into drawing fancy stuff, so they like bought some of her stuff, and I believe she drew the witch. The famous like kind of sexy witch lady. I'm pretty sure that was one of hers.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I gotta check that out. I haven't read. I mean, my occult library is vast.
Yeah,
sometimes
you showed us your shelf earlier, and it looked like there were hundreds of books on there.
Yes, friends. I know. I forget many spells, but I have the book. Somewhere. Yeah, so the funny thing is that like I remember one night I couldn't sleep and I had so much anxiety and I was just up and I started Wikipediaing all the artists from the early
yeah.
Dungeons and Dragons and stuff, and there's like some really tragic stories. Like
Yeah.
it's really fucked up. Like some of the artists are like got, like wives left them and then got cancer and then died poor and all this stuff, and then
Oh.
were like got sick of Dungeons and Dragons so much that he became a taxi cab driver. And then you know what's so funny is that there was a newspaper article about taxi cab drivers, and there was a photograph published of DAT, Donald A. Trampier, or David Trampier, I think, the best artist in Monster Manual #1.
Uh-huh.
And people started harassing the newspaper and trying to find him and be like, dude. And like all these Dungeons and Dragons nerds were trying to pursue him and get into his life and stuff. And he's like, no, leave me alone. That's over. And then
Yeah.
he's like, get away from me. Everybody get away. And then he left and went to a whole nother city so that nobody could find him to be a taxi.
Damn.
I know. I was like, dude, what? I really want to know what happened.
There's a lot of strange stories, and it honestly, it doesn't make sense that now D&D is the most famous thing. Like it has been bizarre. It has been bizarre to see D&D become a mainstream popular
QAnon is
thing.
taking over where Dungeons and Dragons left off. It's like, everybody, but they're like, oh wait, this is actually just a stupid game where nerds use their brains, and then they're like, no, it's hella evil. It's hella evil. But you know what's funny is that
I'm the maze controller.
Imagine like you are a 35-year-old parent of a kid who is sort of socially awkward at school, doesn't have really many friends or whatever, and then brings home these weird Dungeons and Dragons books and starts drawing like demons and all this shit. And then you walk into his room and he's like throwing dice and writing down numbers and stuff. They're probably like, what's going on with my little baby Francis? He's going insane.
I have to go into the basement with these books and my friends, and they all show up and they're like wearing like hoods and stuff. Like, hey, like,
I think there's one of those mothers in the chat right now, perhaps. Austin says, great guest, great stream. If any of y'all ever have the misfortune of being in Sacramento, go check out Skinner's mural at Big Brother Comics. You got a Sacramento fan. H-Dub,
oh yeah,
good to see you.
Yeah, Big Brother Comics. I did actually. My amazing partner Christy, my wife, she left town to go stay in Chiapas, Mexico. For a little while, for a couple of weeks. And while she was gone, I painted a 100-foot-long Dungeons and Dragons mural inside, and it was all the old monsters from the first manual. And the cover, I did the castle, I did the I did the carrion crawler.
Amazing.
And
the carrion crawler.
Yeah, and the dragon and shit. And because I was like, well, I need something to do, something positive, And I would paint all night long, and it was like an entire comic book shop full of dudes doing hero clicks until 4 a.m. and I was like, I don't know what's going on with these guys, but I'm just gonna keep painting this manticore. But
yeah.
So I painted this thing, and then he had to move, but I had done this Marvel Zombies mural for him that was kind of smaller that he was able to take with him to the new shop, and then they destroyed the building with the Dungeons and Dragons thing. So, I know, and like nobody really got to see it, man. But so in Sacramento, it's funny, you go in and it's like there's this really kind of crappy mural of the Marvel Zombies. I did it, and I'm just like, every time people go, dude, who did this mural? I'm like, please don't tell them it's me, man. It's bad.
That is wild that you, much like a Renaissance master, actually have a much larger mural that's been lost and is only known from like records.
There was some general contractor who's like, this is fucking sick, man.
Yeah. Oh, no, it's just fucking crazy as they burn it, smashing it up. Frank in the chat. Frank in the chat is a painter for I think for almost all of his life. He wants to know if the mural was oil or acrylic.
Oh, it was acrylic. Yeah, I've only done one oil painting, which is the cover to my horror anthology comic, Skin Crawl Magazine. That's
the one that just came out, right?
Yes, I can't. I have the actual painting here, but here's the comic itself. You could probably see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can see it.
So
Whoa.
I want to make it look like a really kind of a crappy, like if you were at a thrift store or a flea market and somebody had a box of old horror magazines or something, and you'd see it and you'd be like, oh, that's weird. What's this shit? You know? So that was kind of the vibe I was going for, but I've only done.
I once
one
actually
oil.
did go to an antique store, and they had a big desk, and I was never a child, but it was earlier in my history. I'm a 6,000-year-old wizard. I've never been a kid. But I was in there, and I opened a drawer, and inside were vintage digest style DC comics, which you like never see. But it was like one of the first issues of JSA, but in the like Archie's Digest format, not the full issue format. So
You're like, what is this?
that does
cursed
actually happen.
bullshit?
What was what?
Yeah, I hate DC comics. And I don't like little digests either. How about that? What do you think?
Boom.
Wow. Oh.
Well, I'm finally disagreeing with the guest.
For a while.
We found something to
This
part
is
ways
where
on.
it gets heated up, man. Heated up.
Frank has a follow-up question. He wants to know if you've tried water-soluble oils.
No, but I would love to. I really, that would be awesome because they dry faster, I think.
There we go.
Frank, thank you for chiming in.
Yeah, Frank is great. If there are any other questions, please put them in the chat now, because I think we're going to wrap up pretty soon. We don't want to keep everyone too much later. That's such a cool. And also, you make stuff like you make like toys and miniatures and stuff as well. Is that right?
Yeah, let me show you one second. Here's a figure that I made that it's a little monster man
with a cool little street. He's a street tough monster man.
He's a street fighting freak. So I did this. So Skin Crawl magazine is like my horror comic, but I wrote this other story during the pandemic that was sort of a metaphor or analogy for depression and mental health problems, which I've had like most of my life. I got on Prozac during the pandemic and started really going. Yeah, I feel better. And also I got into all this like trauma therapy and stuff. So I started, but as a part of my practice of trying to have a catharsis through my feelings or understanding myself, I did different comics and wrote different stories, and I wrote this one about this creature in this dungeon, and he has to come out of the dungeon, but he's like in the dungeon and reflecting on all this stuff, and then comes out at the very end, and the world is more insane than the actual dungeon, where he kind of had the chrysalis of self, like understanding himself and processing trauma, and actually understanding that in a lot of ways the mind is it's a terrible master, but an amazing, what is that saying by servant? It's a great servant, but it's a terrible master. And so it's sort of like about understanding the way in which we sort of put ourselves through the shitty reality that we do, and understanding the way that our mind is working and emerging and ascending from the darkness is sort of the idea of this comic story. And then I talked to my friend who makes toys, and I said, let me make and this is the character.
Oh, that's the guy. Oh.
Yeah, so this is the character, and so he basically like is in the dungeon, and then somebody comes down to get him, and then they have this conversation on the way up, and it's really it's sort of autobiographical or something, but it was cool. So anyways, I do these toys, I do masks, I do monster masks with this company called Rock Bottom Novelties. Here's a zombie. Can you see it?
Look at that thing.
So these are all based on illustrations and paintings that I've done that these guys do. Here's another one. This is the Super Space Phantom. Wait, is it a Phantom? What the fuck is this thing?
Oh yeah.
Phantom of Wraith.
There's too many things. Yeah, Wraith.
Oh,
it's a space Wraith.
There we go.
But, Yeah, so I'm just doing all this stuff, and I have my movies and my like little films I'm doing. Oh, my stop motion horror film that I'm working on.
Yes.
Shrine of Abominations is going really, really good.
Awesome.
We're doing a rough edit of about 30 minutes of film that we've been working on for 3 years, building sets, making puppets. It's going to be insane. I saw like a minute and a half. I'll send it to you so you can see it. I saw a minute and a half of this rough edit of animation, and there's nothing like it. It is like if Ray Harryhausen, cosmic horror, Jack Kirby mixed up, and the story is bizarre. There's no dialogue. It's just a sequential nightmare, and I'm really excited about it.
That sounds
and so
yeah, cool.
That's it.
I do have one final question from the chat. This may be too personal. Feel free to say you don't want to answer. But Frank wanted to know if it was harder to create on meds, or it actually helped you create stuff.
Oh, not at all. I feel like, the thing is that doing art for me, I don't know if this is for anybody else, but was like a survival mechanism. It was really about finding a moment of peace in a world that's very chaotic when I was young. And it kind of works as that as well now in this sort of macrocosmic way. I'm just sort of like trying to ignore that, everything is terrible. Death is around us, always waiting. Everything is a nightmare, but it's like also that's only a section of reality. Another reality is that things are cool and good right now where I'm at illustrating, and that like I can eat a delicious, healthy sandwich or something. It's like just getting down into the moment. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And only doing, committing energy to justice when there's time or like when it works. But like sitting around stressing out about the entropy of the universe isn't really making anything better. So anyway, I felt like all of a sudden I had serotonin in my body, and so I was even more inspired to do shit from this place of excitement and interest to see what would reveal itself, instead of like I am really misanthropic and nihilistic and I just want to get away and I don't want to think about anything. So instead of it being from that perspective, I'm kind of like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm actually living this weird little dream. This is cool.
That is fantastic.
Cool. Yeah.
Skinner, it's been so great to interview you. That'd be one of the coolest interviews we've had on the show ever, I think. Summersbane, do you have any final questions?
Nah, man, that is just I honestly fucking love it.
Took us all around the universe, man. I love it.
Fucking love it, man.
Make sure you check out Skinner's stuff. Maybe pick up Skin Crawl, his first totally self-made horror anthology, which is amazing.
Yeah.
I hope we get to talk to you again sometime.
Yeah.
We'll definitely be watching your stuff. And again, I'm very flattered that you like the stuff that we do on our little Instagram.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
I'll be back literally anytime you want.
We will for sure have you back.
Yes.
Do you, Skinner, have any final thoughts, words of wisdom, or plugs for the audience?
That you protect your own energy, because nobody is entitled to your time. You get to decide how much of yourself that you offer to the world, and that you can only really be your best if you feel like you're coming from a place of groundedness and self-love. So if you're coming at the world with a empty cup, the result's not going to be positive. So do what you got to do to take care of yourself and find love and feel love, and encourage others that reciprocate that kind of thing. And then just go easy, man.
Oh yeah.
Love it. Skinner, thank you. And thank you for spending so much of your time and energy with us. This has been a really wonderful interview. Capper to a wonderful episode. We're going to send you back into the void and do our good nights. Thank you. Chat, please give a big round of applause. Toss the emotes, buy the merch for Skinner, the one and only. Amazing.
Wow. Incredible.
What a great episode. I feel so much better now at the end of this show than I did this morning.
Yeah.
Certainly. Summersbane, how are you doing? I just want to check in.
Yeah,
Good?
I'm doing good. Yeah.
Good.